And there it is. That's it. The show is underway. Just like that. Boom. Just a little bit of music and a lot of ambition. How you guys doing? Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm Brent Thomas, your host, and I'm going to drag you kicking and screaming right through it. Sheldon may or may not be here. He was having a migraine, so I don't know how that's going to work out tonight. I hope he's okay. He was going to take some meds earlier and try to kick through it, but he might be here. We'll just keep the door open for him. I sent him a link just in case. So we may have Sheldon here. We may not, but in any case, you got me. You got all of me. For 2 full hours, I am yours. So welcome, everybody. Let's say hello to some people over in Rumble. We got Barbara Mora, Justin Goodearth, and Big D are over there. Good to see you guys. Thank you for coming in. As always, lots of love. We got a lot more over in YouTube. What do we got going on over here? Nathan Nate's here. John Stevenson, Mickey G, Bill Simone. Karen and Alberting is here with Neil, I'm sure. Owl 13, Deborah Neighbors. Let's see who else. John Temperinson. So we got, or John Temperin. I transposed Stevenson and Temperin and got Temperinson. So I don't know how that's how this was a lot going on in here, I guess. Amanda Joseph's over on Facebook. Hi, Amanda. Thanks for coming in. And looking through the list of names to see what else pops up. Mickey G, I said. Yeshua Reloaded is here. Good to see you. Excellent to see you. Happy Dog Lady. How you doing? Good to have you here. And seeing everybody piling in. You guys are coming in quick. But I'm just trying to keep up. Of course, I'm here. I said something in the chat. And I'm here just to verify. I saw a new name. It was JJ, I think. JJ, that's new. Owl 13's here. JJ said, let's go. And I'm like, yeah, well played. Let's go. Good to see you, Justin. Back over on Rumble saying, hello, friends. F-R-E-N-Z. Good to see you, man. As always, Aussie Boss Tiger's here. Aussie Tiger, did you take a new name? Did you rebrand on me? There you are, brother. Happy Dog Lady. I might have said that already. Eric Fry is here. Good to see Eric. And I'm just pasting through the names. That's what I got so far. It looks like Hardwick. Big D's over here in Facebook as well, or in YouTube as well. So I'm going to scroll back down to the bottom and see what I've missed, if anything. Bogart popped in. Good to see you, Bogart. Great to have you here. As always, I think that's kind of it so far. Oh, Amanda's Crazy Life channel's here. Good to see you. Nathan Nate, Amanda's Crazy Life channel. Yeah, I think that's, oh, Barry Anderson over on Facebook as well. Great to see you, as always. So I guess that's kind of the hellos that I got so far. And if I notice you come in throughout the course of the show, of course I'll say hello if I see it. If not, then please accept my apologies. But Brent, look like you had fun on BMR's channel. I always have fun with Rob. Rob's a fun guy. He's a good guy. He and Tex and all of that crew of amazing people. I always have fun getting together with them and being on their shows and having them on this show. We've had a lot of fun through the years now, getting close, that we've been working together. But I really like it. I think they're a wonderful group of people, so I've had a lot of fun with them. But yeah, I'm glad you tuned in. Thanks for coming in over there and hanging out with us. Let's see, what am I missing? So yeah, I said Sheldon's home, got a bit of a headache. He may or may not be here, but I'm here, and we'll go through the show as best as we can. Of course, we got the news coming up shortly here, and then we're going to jump into what the hell is that? Got a segment to go through today. I think it's kind of interesting and fun, and actually I might do a couple of them, but then I might not. I don't know. We'll see. See how long it takes to go through one. If it's too quick, we'll do a double header on what the hell is that. And if you guys see some interesting videos that you'd like me to showcase on that segment, what the hell is that? Please send them over. Send me links to Paranormal Portal Radio @gmail.com. I'd be happy to take your submissions and look at them and render my opinion live on the show. So, what the hell is that? Linda says that's my favorite. What the hell is that? Yep, there you go. So, yeah, feel free to send me stuff if you guys see interesting videos. You're like, What do you think of this? What's your take on this? I mean, again, I would just like to say on the front end of all of that, it's like, I believe there are very legitimate videos out there. I really do. I just think there's so many illegitimate videos out there and hacks and con jobs and scammy things. And I want the segment to both maybe point out some actual videos as well as review some really not actual videos and maybe give you, I don't know if I'm going to teach you guys anything, but I'll just show you what I notice about those videos that makes them absolutely horse crap, and hopefully help you guys to review these things in the future and not buy into some of the garbage out there. There's so much garbage, but there is some real great stuff. So anyway, it's a bear. It's always a bear, Eric Fry. It's always a bear. I remember that. That brings me way back, but yeah. All right, so let's see. What do I got else? Anything else? I had taco tonight, and God, it was the saltiest taco meat I've ever had in my life. It was just, and my mouth is like bone dry because of it. I feel like I've been sucking on salt rocks. So if I got to drink extra specially abundant amounts of water tonight, you'll know why. Because I'm basically being preserved live on the show. But anyway, let's get to the news and find out just what the hell's going on. Mickey G says, no, I ate tacos. They were very salty. They were homemade, but the powder mix was like, it was really heavy on the salt, and it just dried me the hell out. So my mouth is like a piece of leather slapping around where my tongue should be. But anyway, it's not beef if it's well, they're not street tacos. I just got them from the kitchen. I live in a really small town. It's not like there's street tacos being sold here. It's a small community. So, yeah. So for whatever it's worth, I'm not down in El Salvador. No offense to El Salvador, but just that's what came to mind. Getting street tacos. Yeah, maybe you're part reptilian. If I am, I don't even know it. So it's such a well hidden fact that even I'm not aware of it. But anything's possible. But if I'm reptilian, I must be missing out on something. If I start shooting my tongue out a bunch, then maybe you got something. I'm just saying. All right, well, let's get to the news and find out just what the hell's going on in the world. I've got some cool articles pulled up that we're going to go through. I love tacos too, Bogart. I do love tacos, but man, that packet of flavoring was like extra salty. I don't know what brand it was, but it was like, oh, terrible. But I mean, it tasted okay, but it's just like after the fact, it's like, God, my tongue is all dry. All right, let's get to the news and find out what the hell's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the news and information portion of today's show. So buckle up and relax, grab a libation of your choice, and hopefully you'll get informed or at least entertained. One of the two. But in any case, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the news. John used to say it's the only news I trust. Now it's the only news I like. That's hilarious. That cracked me up. Thanks, brother. I'm glad you like it. I like doing the news, too. I think we have a lot of fun. And Spanish Gardens taco spice, huh? Never heard of that, Mickey, but I'm game for anything, really. I love tacos, but, man, that was extra salty. I'm not sure what the hell was wrong with that one. You make your own? No, it's just the supermarket packets. I'm not creative enough to make my own taco spices. I'm sure I know you can. I've seen the online recipes for it and stuff, but it's like, yeah, that's great. But anyway, where's they're like 50 cents in the supermarket. So it's like, that's a lot easier than setting out and measuring all kinds of spices and stuff. So I do think that there is merit to doing your own thing, making your own and putting it all together, that's cool. I really do respect that. It's just that I don't spend much time in the kitchen, as you may or may not tell. At least not cooking. I spend far too much time probably eating in there, but not cooking in there. So, all right. I had chili. Now Coors going down fast. Ooh, yeah. Actually, it's funny you should say Coors, because I just was at the grocery store day before yesterday, and I don't drink beer, but I do like a beer in the summertime when it gets warmer, and it's been getting warmer. And it's, you get done mowing and you got that ice cold beer and it just slides down. It's like, oh, it's so refreshing. And then you get that nice smell of cut grass. It's one of the simple pleasures in life, but the brand I was looking at was Coors. And it made me think of my dad, because he loved his Coors Light. That guy had like suitcases of that stuff. It's like I said, my dad loved two things in life. He loved mowing his yard and he loved his beer. And that's tongue in cheek. Obviously, he loved a lot more of that, but that was his happy place. And like I said, he would get these riding lawnmowers, and the only thing he would do, first thing he did when he got them home, was fit them for a little can holder, and then he would have a place to put his beer when he's mowing yard. So yeah, it brings me way back. But yeah, Coors was his beer of choice, Coors Light. So. All right, well, let's get to the news. Throughout the course of the news, ladies and gentlemen, we utilize a lot of different sites. Please support these sites. Please give them your love. They are doing an exceptional job. They need your love and support. They need your traffic, because your traffic does equal revenue and helps to keep the lights on and keeps them going. So please support these sites. Please give them your love. And if you ever leave a message on their message board, tell them the Paranormal Portal sent you. So, all right. Anyway, we're going to get to the articles that I've got pulled up. If I pull them up, that'd help. There we go. The first article tonight has to do with creatures, myths, and legends. This is right up our alley, which is funny because sometimes on the Portal News, we don't get a lot of actually paranormal news. We get a lot of technology, a lot of maybe controversy, some conspiracy, and every once in a while some actual paranormal news. But right off the bat, I think I got all three of tonight's stories are paranormal related, so it's really good. This is from the Creatures, Myths, and Legends files of an amazing site known as unexplained-mysteries.com. And that is this site. Let me get it framed up here better so you can see it. There we go, unexplained-mysteries.com. This is an amazing site, folks. I love this site. It's so exceptionally well done. So please give them your love. Go over there and check out. I mean, they have articles about everything. Some of it's weird and bizarre, and some of it's unexplained, but others of it is just really timely news. I love that site, so please check them out. Father and son encounter Bigfoot in Monroe County, Michigan. Now, this is a brand new article to me. This is as of May 23rd. I hadn't heard anything about this, but let's check it out. The creature, which was sighted on May 18th, was described as the size of a bear with gorilla-like features. Now, when they say bear, I wonder if they mean black bear or like a grizzly brown bear, big brown bear. Because that's really like miles apart. Like a black bear is human size, roughly 5 to 6 feet when they're standing on their back legs. But they're a big animal, but next to a grizzly, which can be 7.5 feet tall, or some of the ones up in Alaska, like on Kodiak Island, get up to like the 9-10 foot range. It's like, that's a way bigger animal. So I don't know what they mean, but let's check it out. According to a report, which was submitted to the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, or the BFRO, the encounter began at around 11:30 a.m. when their dog became scared by something seen nearby. Thank you, Linda. I'll give you applause in a minute. Trees were shaking, the father wrote. We thought it was a group of deer. Things seemed to get normal again for a while until a sudden noise attracted their attention. I already read that one. I heard rustling in a tree to the left and a huge thud hitting the ground from the tree, he wrote. I think I might have read this one already, but we're reading it again. A big, heavy animal hit the ground and crouched and started moving towards me through the brush. My dog fired off from the right of me toward the creature. The dog almost got to it, but the creature shot off extremely fast through the trees and brush. The dog chased the creature up the slope and over the train tracks, and I then called for my dog to come back. My son said, "What was that?" It was as big as a bear, but it looked like a gorilla. We walked back, but we heard something crunching on the ground behind us, and we left. When BFRO field investigator later followed up on the story with the 2 witnesses, they explained that the creature had stood upright with a hunched posture, but was around 6 feet tall and covered in hair. So he's talking about a black bear size then, okay. It had been standing up straight. It would have likely been a lot taller than that. Exactly what it was, however, remains unclear. Well, there you go. Bigfoot. I'm going with Bigfoot. That's my vote. They're out there, folks. They are out there. That's crazy. Crazy. It doesn't surprise me, I guess. I just think, I think there's probably so many more encounters with these things by people, but not like most of the encounters will never be told because people just don't want to become that guy. Like there's still, it's gotten better, but there's still a stigma attached to it where people are just like, man, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want people to get the idea that I'm seeing things in the woods and God only knows. I mean, I can understand it because it's still an odd, weird thing to see a Bigfoot, much less so than ever before. I think public acceptance of the idea is at an all-time high, but that still doesn't mean that most people are there yet. It just means more people are there yet. So as these conversations continue, I imagine we're going to hear a ton more. But hopefully soon. Hopefully it's soon. Brent is awesome. Oh, thank you, Amanda. All right, so Linda, thank you. That was wonderful. Really appreciate that. Again, you know, as everyone says, and it's very true here too, none of that is ever accepted or expected. But it does help a ton. So thank you to those of you who are able to do that. I appreciate it. Village Idiot, Mike Prine says, who's the Village Idiot? Who's that? I don't know where you're going with that, Mike. Where the hell's my mouse? I'm trying to scroll up to see what I missed. If Mike said anything else or if he just came in starting with Village Idiot. Hey, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Spank the hearts on the right side of the chat. Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate that. So, yeah, I don't know what you mean, Mike, but who exactly is the Village Idiot? Where are we going with this? Let me know if you would. But that's the first story tonight. Bigfoot story. I believe it. Maybe this is the one that Rob, we covered this on your show. That's why I'm familiar with it. I was reading it going, God, this sounds familiar. I must have read it before, but I think, Rob, it was on your show we covered this very story. That, I think, is where it came from. Oh, the story. From the story, Mike. I got you. Okay. Fair enough. Keith from 1675 is here. Good to see you, Keith. Cheers from Michigan, listening away from chat. Very good, Mike. Appreciate it, Keith. Very cool. It's nice to meet new names and welcome. Hope you like it enough to hit the subscribe button. But, you know, if not, thanks for giving us a shot. That's all I can ask. So, yeah, it was on BMR. Eric Fry says, yeah, that's where it was. I was like, God, this sounds so familiar as I'm reading this. That's why. That was why. How you doing? I like Ike. Good to see you. Someone, Keith. Hi, Keith. Cheers from Chicago. Oh, yeah. I guess we're all going to meet each other. Keith, you meet the family. Welcome. Meet the family. The family is the chat around here. We are a family. Hey, Blues Cruise. Good to Blue Cruise. And that was going like Blues Clues. Sorry. That was, that was a flashback to when Sheldon was just a wee lad. He used to love Blues Clues. All right. Anyway, I can't even remember any of the songs from that show, but I used to love the Steve guy from Blues Clues. Wasn't so big about Joe. Joe kind of pissed me off, but Steve I liked. Steve was cool. All right, here we go. Let's go to the next article here on the news because there's more. There's always more. All right, here we go. The next one's up. This one's metaphysics and psychology, and this has to do with, you know, I love near-death experiences because I think they're some of the greatest, most powerful testimony and do support the idea that we continue on. And while I think most of us in here would believe that, I think we all also have this little shadow of a doubt. Like, what if it's just done? What if it's just a light switch and it's done? But I love these stories because they're affirmations. They are affirmations that, look, there's more. There's so much more. This is just a very little part of what we will understand as our whole experience in existence. And certainly near-death experiences, I think, reaffirm a lot of the faith that all of us put in the fact that we're going to continue on. So this is a story from a name you probably are going to mention or remember, or not remember, but be familiar with. And this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Jeremy Renner, who played Hawkeye in the Avengers movie, for any of you that aren't familiar with him. It's been an actor in several movies, but yeah, that's certainly one of them. Jeremy Renner speaks candidly about his near-death experience. And his experience was not that long ago, actually. I think he got injured while he was plowing snow at his house. And I don't remember the details anymore, but I remember reading about it quite a while ago, and the fact that he had a near-death experience, but apparently still talking about it. So very cool. It says, back in 2023, the actor was almost killed when he was crushed by a 14,000-pound snowcat on New Year's Day. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do you quick, as a matter of fact. Renner, who's perhaps best known as his role as Hawkeye in the Marvel movies, had a metaphysical experience at the time of the accident that would go on to change his outlook on life. It's a great relief, is all I could say, he said recently on Let's Talk Off Camera podcast. It's a wonderful, wonderful relief to be removed from your body. It's the most exhilarating peace you could ever feel. It's the highest adrenaline rush, but the peace that comes with it, it's magnificent. It's so magical. And I didn't want to come back. I remember I was brought back and I was so pissed off. I came back and I'm like, aww. He's described the afterlife as a place of pure knowing, where time doesn't exist. Time is a human construct. This is so remedial. Language, all of these things, it's all knowing, all experiencing, all at the same time, all at once, he said. It makes me, a man that didn't want to come back, really be able to be back here and live it on my terms as the captain of my own ship. Fortunately, Renner went on to make a completely remarkable recovery from his injuries. And he now has a very different way of looking at life. I gave so much value to things that have zero value, he said. So I invest into no stocks or bonds. I invest not into crypto or Bitcoin. I invest into love and my shared relationship that I experience love with, because that's the only thing that you can take with you. That's good advice. Yeah. It's funny how transformative near-death experiences are. I mean, and why not? You definitely move instantly beyond the illusions of being incarnate in this realm of experience. You're like, we become so in love with status, with posture, with position, and with things like, ooh, I can't wait to get that, that new video game. I can't wait to get that new guitar, that new car, the bigger house. But all of that stuff is so much a part of this world and a part of this experience. And yeah, we don't take it with us, I think that's great. And it sounds really childish to make that statement, like, well, duh, but I mean, really, when you think about what you value in this world, most of it is based on cosmetic nothing. And to refocus on what truly is valuable and important, which is becoming a better version of yourself. I think that's a better way to invest your energies. But at any rate, I also believe that having new stuff is fun. Don't get me wrong. Like I love, getting a new electronic something or a musical instrument or something that's exciting, and it opens up doors of creativity and abilities to make things. But, it's all the same. B. Arthur is golden tonight. Well, Betty, that means so much coming from you. Thank you, brother. Mr. Dave Scott, ladies and gentlemen, coming in and hanging out in the portal. You have to come back on, Dave. Got a lot of praise from your appearance here on the portal. So let me know when you want to come back. I'll drag you back in, kicking and screaming if I gotta. I'm just saying, it's possible. All right, so that was Jeremy Renner's experience with almost dying. But I love NDE experiences. I think they're very, very powerful. All right, we're going to do one more tonight because that's what I got picked out for you. Pulled up for you. Yeah, this one's kind of creepy. These stories are, I don't know. Okay. The idea of swarms of freaking, I don't know, insects is pretty sobering thought, I think. I think most people are okay with insects, and I don't even know the meat and taters of this story yet. I just saw the headline. Oh no. But there's like the movies I remember seeing as a kid where they talked about these plagues of locusts coming in and devouring crops, like to an extreme extent, like these robust, lush fields would just be bare and barren after these clouds of locusts moved through and destroyed, these families' livelihoods. And I thought, oh, how horrible. Well, at least they're not eating people, which is good, but, it's still horrible. So this is a story that comes from Nature and Environment, and it's also from unexplained-mysteries.com. Let's get to this. You ready, folks? Some bug stuff. Here we go. Insect invasion. Millions of Mormon crickets descend on Utah. Millions of them. I don't know. Probably billions. I don't know how many. I mean, a million crickets is a lot of crickets, but look at those ugly bastards. Look at that. I mean, they look like a grasshopper, though, don't they? Just a real stubby one. Looks like a croc. The shoes, those Crocs with legs. It's an ugly looking thing. No offense to you Mormon crickets, but there you go. Local farmers and businesses have been badly impacted by the appearance of the insect swarm. Anyone with a particular fear or distaste of large insects might want to give Fillmore, how the hell do you say that, 2L? And other parts of central Utah a wide berth for at least a while. Known as Mormon crickets, these highly problematic pests cause headaches, not only for local residents. I'm glad. I think they mean that figuratively. I was just like, what? They cause headaches? But it's just a headache. In businesses, but also for farmers owing to their penchant for feasting on crops. Yeah, these are the ones. Yeah. Motorists on Interstate 15 have found themselves driving straight through huge swarms of the critters, creating oil-like slicks of their remains that can, in turn, lead to accidents. Yeah, that sucks. In some areas, snowplows have been brought out to try to clear the massive piles of insect carcasses. Elsewhere, local businesses have been forced to call in pest control experts, and farmers have been left helpless in the face of losing entire crops to the invaders. For some, however, such swarms are nothing new. I remember walking down Corn Creek Canyon as a little boy, sprinting through the thick patches because we were too scared to walk through them. Local business owner Jed Christensen told Fox 13. We were coming down the canyon road, and it looked like we were running through water. They would just be part of us. So, yeah, I've dealt with this before. I don't know if that's how he sounds, but that's my impression of him. It's believed that a particularly dry winter coupled with current mild weather is responsible for this year's infestation. Well, you want to see what that looks like, folks? I say let's check it out. This is coming from KSL News, Utah. Let's have a look. What the hell do these things look like? Let's find out.
Some towns in Utah are known for their charm, peace, and quiet, but right now a couple of them might be known for something else.
Yeah, known for crickets. Noisy, crunchy, all over the roads. News specialist Alex.
Crunchy. Like she's describing a breakfast cereal. All right, continue.
Cabrera is on this story tonight, and Alex, this is maybe not the sound you want to hear at the dinner hour.
Oh, that is certainly one way to put it, Deanie. And this is one of those stories you have to see it and also hear it to believe it. Now, in Holden and in Fillmore, two of those smaller towns in central Utah, just off of I-15, it seems like the Mormon cricket invasion has officially begun. People who live in those two towns are dealing with thousands, probably tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of these bugs. They are in the fields, they are in the roads, and they are also, some of them, in homes.
It's kind of like nature's version of bubble wrap.
Oh, God. It's kind of like nature's version of bubble wrap. Aw.
Except every little pop is a little more disgusting.
Yeah, they're just gross. They're very noisy.
Bobette White lives in the small town of Holden, where you can tell spring has sprung when these six-legged creatures start hopping.
Well, it seems like for the last couple weeks, they just have come out of from the back fields and they just get on the freeway.
Mormon crickets, thousands of them, making it look like the road is moving. They're not at White's house yet, but she's seen pictures of what it'll look like if they do.
I have neighbor friends that have had pictures that they're on their houses on the side of the walls, so.
And if that's not bad enough,
They just devoured people's gardens and lawns and I don't know, they're just, between those two, they're very destructive.
and yes, people here have been joking about bringing in some extra help, similar to what was done in those old pioneer stories.
Oh, yeah, there's a legendary story, apparently a history of them, the Mormons having these clouds of locusts come in, and allegedly the people prayed, and suddenly these seagulls, millions of seagulls or thousands of seagulls, flew over the mountain range and came in and ate all of the crickets. It was pretty amazing. Let's see what they say.
So it's kind of a joke that, we need the seagulls to come and save us.
Until then, folks here will continue to do what they've always done. Live with it, laugh at it, and avoid walking barefoot for a while.
You just can't stand to be with them.
You can't.
There you go. That's the Mormon crickets, folks. Get some chocolate. Yeah, maybe they're missing out on an opportunity here. Just roast them with some chocolate, and my God, you got a delicacy. They got enough to feed the world, probably. Oh, those are gross little things, though, aren't they? Time to go fishing, Amy says. Yeah, amen. Flamethrower Barry says. Yeah, Mormons love crickets. Not so much, apparently. Not so much. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe you know something I don't, Amanda. But, yeah, I'm sure they're not loving those. I mean, they sound like they're taking it in stride, which is good, you know. I mean, what are you going to do? So I guess you got to find a little humor in it for whatever that's worth. But, yeah. Maybe you didn't know that before today, or something else that we've read. But in any case, now you know, and you're welcome. Free reptile food. You're absolutely right, yeah. Get some geckos out there. They'll clean them up. It's like those in Australia. I think they get mouse invasions, like where there's millions of mice all of a sudden. Like they get this population explosion of mice every once in a while in parts of Australia. And it's absolutely frightening. Like those things will eat everything, including like snakes that usually eat mice. There'll be like snake carcasses all over the place from all of these mice just eating them because they're basically so overpopulated, they're starving. So they just go into feeding frenzies, into grain barns, and just clean them out and stuff. It's crazy. I don't know. I mean, it's probably part and parcel just to some cycle of the natural world, but it's creepy as hell for sure. So I don't know what you think, but pretty crazy stuff. Just saying. But there you have it. I don't know. Just some thoughts. Hi, Jackie Hall. Good to see you. Jackie Hall came in. Who else came in? Anybody else that I haven't said hello to? Elaine's here. How you doing, Elaine? Great to see you. The Goblin came in. Good to have you here as well. So Barbara Moore is over here as well. Good to have you here. Excellent. So anyway, that's the news. I guess let's get back to the rest of the show, folks. Here we go. It's time to get back to the rest of it. Two Shadows got all poetic in there. He says, lurking because I'm working. Very good. Well, glad you're here. You can lurk. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to chat, but if you can, it's great to know you're here so I can say hello. So great to have you here, Two Shadows. Two Shadows? Yeah. That's a cool name. Two Shadows. Because one just wasn't enough. All right. Anybody else come in? Looks like we got everybody so far, I think. All right. If anybody else comes in, make sure to say hi so I can say hello to you. All right. It's time for the next part of our journey, folks. We're going to go to this because, well, I like doing it. Here it is, folks. It's time for...
What the hell is that?
What the hell is that? That's the best transition I got so far. I put that together a couple days ago, I guess just before Wednesday's show. But I'll do a better one eventually, or if somebody out there is creative and wants to do one for me, that's great too. I'd be happy to feature your work as a stinger here on the show. Those are called stingers, those transitional things. So I think they're called stingers. That's either that or something else. I don't know. That's the word I'm using because that makes me sound like I know what the hell I'm talking about. But this is What the Hell Is That? And this is the part where we talk about some kind of strange, interesting stuff. And we're going to do that now. This is... Let me close that. All right. So this is coming from a site known as Cryptid University on Facebook. And it's a very interesting... I got to make it a little smaller so it fits on the screen. Okay. There we go. That should work. And this is a page on Facebook. It's interesting. I've looked at it a little bit. I've enjoyed their site. The font is a little bit small, but I'll do my best to read it. I love the idea that there's little people out there, that there's these little diminutive humanoid beings out there. And of course, they're part of legend and lore from around the world. I mean, literally. Hi, Amy Creel. Good to see ya. If I didn't say hello before, hello. But I think there's merit to this. There's something these people are seeing. And every once in a great while, it looks like maybe some evidence to that fact happens and pops up. And this is something coming from Wyoming. And it's rather old, but it still stands up as maybe really good evidence to the fact that there is little people there. And there's been other things found and presented that may as well reinforce the idea, but this is a pretty good indicator. All right, so let's get to this. This is from, again, Cryptid University on Facebook. You might want to check it out. They seem to have a pretty cool site. They cover a lot of different stuff dealing with cryptozoology, so you may want to look into it. But here we go. This is it. This is from Cryptid University on Facebook. During an expedition in the San Pedro Mountains of Wyoming in June 1934, two gold prospectors stumbled upon something astonishing and difficult to believe. Deep within a small cave, the men discovered the well-preserved remains of a tiny human-like figure. To this day, the origin of the remains considered a mystery, surrounded by legends told by Native American tribes, who often spoke in their stories of little people or tiny spirits, locally known as the Nimeriga, I guess. The mummy, which is preserved in a seated position, measures only 6.5 inches tall while sitting, with an estimated height of 14 inches if standing. Something never before seen in the world. Scientists concluded several tests on the tiny being, revealing numerous details about its physical appearance. The mummy, which is named Pedro, was found cross-legged in a seated position. It had bulging eyes, a flattened skull, and visible fingernails indicating an excellent state of preservation, thanks to a gelatinous substance that covered the tiny body. The figure's nose appeared completely flat, while its teeth were intact and its skin was brown and wrinkled, resembling that of an elderly person. Although its small size initially led to speculation that the remains belonged to a child, X-ray examinations revealed that the mummy had the bone structure of an adult, estimated to be between 16 and 65 years old. It also had sharp teeth, and evidence of raw meat was found in its stomach. The tests further revealed that Pedro had likely died a violent death as multiple bones were broken. His spine was damaged and his skull showed signs of severe trauma. Unfortunately, the whereabouts of the mummy have been unknown since 1950, after a man named Ivan Goodman purchased Pedro and later disappeared with the remains. Now, I've seen these images before, and allegedly, this is the X-ray of the skeleton, which, again, doesn't seem to show that it was just some kind of miscarriage or some deformed human fetus. Like it had teeth, it had various differences, and allegedly looked like a fully developed adult. So that's hard to pull off with a fetus or a baby that was stillborn or something. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think this could be an example of some remnant or some individual of these legendary stories? Let me know. Missing 411 Pedro. Yeah, he's missing right now. Absolutely. They are real, y'all. Linda says, yeah. Little dude had bones. Yep, had bones. It wasn't just a sculpture. Like, it had a skeleton. So it does look like it might be the very real thing. Aussie says, could be true. Yep, could be. By all means, Barbara Morris says it's frustrating when they lose artifacts. Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. It'd be nice if they hung on to them. So, I don't know. I think it's possible. I like the idea that it's real. I really do. And I can't substantiate or debunk this in either fashion. I just don't know. We're left to rely on the narrative that we can see. And that's what's printed on this page. There isn't much more out there about it that I've ever seen, but it's very interesting. I'm sure there's a more robust narrative about it, but this is hitting all the high points that I've heard through the years. So what do you guys think? I'd love to hear your thoughts. So if you can, if you're watching the show when it's not live, let me know. Leave me a comment. I do read all the comments on these videos. I don't always get a chance to respond to them, but I do read them. So I'd love to know what you guys are thinking about Pedro the Mummy from Wyoming, or if you find any information about it. Cindy 33 said the Smithsonian took it, and that's always a possibility. My God, they've been the black hole for a lot of remains of things. Some babies are born with teeth, though super uncommon. Yeah, sure. But I guess by its skeletal structure as well, it didn't look like a newborn. Like, if you look at a newborn baby, like babies don't even get kneecaps until they're like, I don't know, close to 5 years old or something like that. Like, there's definite indicators that, there's a baby skeleton or an adult skeleton. And the other thing is the bones in the skull being fused or still being, free moving of each other. That's certainly an indicator of an infant versus an adult, or at least more adult. So why the name Pedro? I don't know. I don't think that's why though, Eric. So anyway, interesting stuff. I don't know what you think, but that's pretty fascinating. I think that's a pretty fascinating story. I like that though. I mean, I think it's certainly possible. It's certainly possible, but definitely check out Cryptid University on Facebook. Get subscribed over there, or follow them, or whatever the case is. Friend them if they're friends, or follow, whatever. But it looks like they got a great page and cover a lot of this stuff. So give them your love. Tell them the portal sent you. Very cool though. I like this story. I really do. I think it's excuse me. There's some of the tacos coming back. But some of the long-standing mysteries of things that are out there, and in my opinion, have never been debunked. Of course, there's people that throw ideas. Oh, it's a premature baby that was born, stillborn, or something like that. But, again, I'm sure they can sort out that just with those x-rays. There's, anyway, I'm not a doctor or a person that deals with biology or physiology, so I don't know enough to say either way, but I trust that if it had a full set of teeth and they were pointed, that's probably not one of ours, along with the flattened head and bulbous eyes. So, is it impossible that it could be? I guess maybe not, but I don't know the science behind that. I just like the idea that it could be. I will be honest, I have a confirmation bias regarding this story. I think it's great. Hi, Car Juice. I love the little people stories. Car Juice over in Rumble popped in. Good to see a Dog Digger as well. Great to have you guys here. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's interesting, and maybe something will emerge, or they'll find him. Hi, BJ. Good to see you. Hi there, Brent. Almost missed the show. What? Glad you made it. Just saying. Could have been 10 demerits. Amy Creel, the first settlers clearing land couldn't plow fields because they kept hitting graves. That's true, Amy. I heard about that on the east. They found apparently graveyards of these little.
Final.
Ooh, Ghost Box says final. Final what? What final? What is final? Again, it's these random words. Does that relate? Final. Anybody find a meaning for the word final in what we're discussing? I mean, you're welcome to participate. It's just, I don't know what to make of that word. I don't know how that word fits into the narrative. It's the final place of Pedro. That's for sure. Final frontier. Maybe. Could be. It's the final countdown. Maybe. The final countdown. Maybe. That used to be such a big song. I remember that song. God, it was everywhere. That brings me way back to a distant part of my life. It's frightening how far away that part of my life is now. It just shows you how old I am, I guess. I don't know. I'm still really immature, though, so for what that's worth. But anyway, yeah, the Ghost Box says final. Let's see how we're doing here. 7:54. Yeah, we could maybe do one more. I thought I had a second one pulled up here. Thought I did, but maybe. Oh, yes, I did. It's time for the second part of What the Hell Is That? I love this story. Folks. This is one that I heard about several years ago. But I fell in love with the story. Absolutely fell in love with this story. Because, remember the video I showed you of those birds that were playing dead or they were playing injured out on that patio? Like they saw that the woman or the person living there had tended to an injured bird and gave it food and stuff. So now there's like several birds that come and they act like they just hit the window and they're sprawled out. If you didn't see that, it was on one of the first instances of What the Hell Is That? But it's fascinating stuff. So now it's time for part 2 of
What the hell is that?
Time for part 2. Here's part 2. This is from the Unknowns But Not Hidden Facebook channel, something. I don't know much about this page, but it came up in my feed and I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is a fantastic story. And I'm going to read it to you because it's another example of like the animal kingdom rising up to an unexpected level. And here it is. It says, in 2005, a 12-year-old Ethiopian girl was kidnapped after leaving school and was to be sold as a bride. Well, after a week, the kidnappers, hunted by police, decided to change their shelter. However, during the journey, the incredible happened. 3 lions noticed the girl in tears, attacked the kidnappers, forcing them to flee, and then crouching down next to her without touching her in the slightest. Sergeant Wandmu Wadai from the Beta Genet district, who was coordinating the search, said they were guarding her, and when they saw us coming, they silently moved away. I remember hearing about this story, and this is an amazing story to me because it's like it's literally like Daniel in the lion's den from the Bible, honestly. It's like these lions knew this child was in a state of trauma, and it's gotta be divine intervention, right? I mean, it's gotta be, because what is a lion gonna do? It's hungry, it eats something. But these lions, maybe they were just really well fed. Maybe they took compassion on the child for some reason. I don't know. I don't understand exactly how it happens or how that can be explained away, except that they then held vigil around the girl until the authorities showed up. And that, to me, is amazing. That is amazing. Now, is it possible that there's that much going on in animals that they could put together? Look, this kid needs help. This is not good. This is not good. And they act on their own, or was it a divine intervention where they were forced or caused to act in that manner? I don't know. Maybe it's both. But after seeing those birds, those little dinky birds, acting like they were hurt because they figured out, hey, when you're hurt, you get food around here, and they started doing it, it's like they learn. And could these animals have learned that these kidnappers maybe had done it before? Maybe they watched it and maybe they had compassion on some measure. I don't know. But interspecies, Mike Prine says, yeah, telepathic, maybe, Barry. Maybe there's some kind of telepathy, or maybe this child is very charmed and is in vibe with nature and nature responded. I don't know. I mean, there's any number of possible examples or explanations for what could be going on here. But what happened was this little girl was returned home. She was able to go back home. She wasn't sold as an 11-year-old, 12-year-old girl to be a bride. My God. And not by choice. And, different cultures, whatever, I understand. But it still doesn't make it right. It's still an ugly, ugly, horrible thing. So, just really amazing. That's what I was thinking, Barb. She was giving off something. Yeah, maybe. I would think she had a vibration or frequency that they recognized, in my humble opinion. Yeah, sure. I mean, it could be that, but it could be so many things. I mean, you think of guardian angels, and again, you think of Daniel in the lion's den. He was thrown in there expecting to be mauled, and all the lions just laid down, hung out with him. So it's kind of a biblical event, and that's the thing. And look, I don't ever try to get religious on this show because, I believe spirituality is a very important but a very personal thing. And I don't think that my spirituality should be anybody else's. It's mine. But I do think that, oftentimes we refer to these ancient books about things that happened, and we refer to them and we regard them as the time maybe when the divine was walking in stride with us. My contention is that stuff still happens. This stuff still happens. So these things could be recorded as well, So anyway, I'm glad that it happened. I think it's a beautiful event, and I think it's exciting and wonderful and raises a hell of a lot of questions. But like I said, this segment is called What the Hell Is That? Yeah, the 3-year-old was saved by a bear. I was doing hand quotes when I said bear, Mike, because I don't necessarily think it was a bear. I just think a 3-year-old didn't have a vocabulary to say Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Just thought it was a bear or something big and hairy. That's a bear. So, very true. I think that 3-year-old was saved by a Sasquatch, but that's another what the hell is that, I guess we could go into. Then I'll add Paranormal Portal to my stalking at I Like Ike. Well, are you stalking me? That's okay. I like being stalked. As long as you don't boil rabbits on my stove, we're good. Anyway, there you go. That's the second What the Hell Is That? I thought those two stories were absolutely amazing. Interesting, food for thought. And I don't have the answers. I don't have any real advice. I just got a lot of questions. But I think they're both really incredible examples of some pretty amazing stuff that's going on in our world. That's what the portal is. It's a journey into the incredible, amazing stuff. So, yeah, there you go. I think it's interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope that's a new story to some of you. I know, I remember when it just happened. I think I actually covered it on one of the episodes of the Paranormal Portal when I was doing an episode every night for several years. For 7 days a week, I'd do a Paranormal Portal episode 7 days a week, and then 3 podcast episodes on top of that. So I was doing 10 shows a week for a couple of years. And I remember doing this story when it happened. I was like, what? Wow, that's amazing. So is it the animals? Is it the girl? Is it a combination? Is it divine intervention? Is it all of the above? You be the judge. But let me know what you think in the comments. If you're watching when it's not live, I remember those days. You remember those, Elaine? Yeah, you've been with me for a long time. Brent Thomas, what is on your shirt? It says, Bigfoot Dad. The Minion got it for me for my birthday. And then it's down below. It says, like a regular dad, but way more squatchy. So I got this from the Minion for my birthday. So that's what's on my shirt. I first heard you about 7 years ago while I was recouping from surgery. Happy Dog Lady says, wow, you've been with me for a long time too. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're still here. Hi, Spirit Stalker 54. Good to have you here. Thanks for coming in. So some crazy cool stories, though. I hope you guys enjoyed those. What's going on with the lions and that little girl? I don't know. That one still blows my mind. Those events are truly biblical. I mean, literally. It's where some larger spirit took control and made it okay for that little girl. But what a lucky child. What a very fortunate child. I wish it happened for every child that was in crisis, but unfortunately it doesn't. But at least it happens sometimes. Anyway. All right. Oh, Spirit. Who's Spirit? He said hi. Oh, Spirit Stalker. Yeah, okay. I see High Spirit, and I'm like, oh yeah, I just said hello to Spirit Stalker. Spirit Stalker 54. Speaking of stalkers, there's Spirit Stalker. All right, the lions could be her spirit animal. Sometimes your spirit animal will not hurt you because they identify with you. I say that from personal experience. Interesting thought. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Up to 3 years ago, never had any interest in these subjects. What changed, John? What was the change? I'm curious to know. I'll try to watch it. Dances with Wolves, yeah. Dances with Wolves. But that was a movie. Anyway, Phil Funk, that's terrible. Funny, but terrible. I don't even know if I want to read it. I'm not even going to reference that just because this is a family show. I've been binge listening to all the Paste podcasts. What's a Paste podcast? Is that a show? What is a Paste podcast, Cindy 33? I don't know what that means. Oh, past? You mean past? I've been binge listening to all the past podcasts. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. That's really cool. Sorry. I see that now. I figured it out after a second. Yeah, I'm a little slow out of the gate sometimes. It's like, but I'm good at the end. I keep at it till I figure something out. With my luck, if I had a spirit animal, it would be a mosquito. Oh, God. I hate those bastards. I really hate those bastards. I love all things. And I will never go out of my way to hurt anything. In fact, I'm the kind of guy to release bugs outside again, spiders, whatever. I'll just, there you go, live a good life. But I don't care. A freaking mosquito, they're kill on sight. How would you say it? Kill on sight? KOS? I don't know. I mean, I will go out of my way to murder those things. They piss me off. Those damn things. Brent, Veil Lifted 2021. Veil Lifted 2021. What is that referencing? Hey, all, what's the good word? We don't really know. Unknown, but welcome to the show. Good to see you, man. Where you been? Why are you coming in late? I have the feeling I'm like plan B here, Unknown. What's going on with that? I didn't think the portal should ever be plan B. Where you been? Expect a permission slip on my desk. Paranormal Portal, I ask, what do lions wear to bed? Pajamas. Well, there you go. I like that. Get a rim shot for that one. All right, I don't kill anything. I'm not going to eat. Bugs aren't anything. All right, well, let's get back to some more of our journey tonight, as it is after 8 o'clock, and we got some cryptids to get to. So get through. Wait, before we do that, I want to get back to the shadow people. That's why I named the show Shadows. In a world of shadows, or I forgot what I named it, in the presence of shadows. That's why I named this episode that, because that was my plan all along. So let's get to it. So we are going through a thought catalog article. Shadow people. Yeah, this is a thought catalog article. Looks like we're on number 7. Yeah, the dashing shadow. These are 26 gripping, bone-chilling encounters with shadow peoples that you won't be able to, and I got to scroll up to see what the rest of the header is. We're on number 7. Okay, I'll just put it on screen so you guys can see it. Here we are, 26 gripping, bone-chilling encounters with shadow people that you won't be able to forget. All right, there we go. And this is an article by Eric Redding. It's really fantastic. These people are experiencing shadow people. Again, there's a lot of ideas what shadow people are, maybe what they aren't. I don't know. I like to think that maybe they are benevolent and good, that maybe they are cleaning negative energy, but Brent is back. Yeah, I'm back. I was back last night, or on Wednesday too. Yeah, good to see you, Jaron. Thanks for coming in. But this has been a great article by Eric Redding, updated 3 years ago last. So this article's from 2022, but as I said, we're on number 7. We did the first 6 on the last show, and here we are. This one's called A Dashing Shadow. When I was younger, I lived in a ranch-style home with my mom and grandma. My mom and I had chose to have our rooms in the basement. Hers is in the back corner bedroom of the basement, and mine in a sectioned off area in the main living room / recreational area. Her bedroom was connected both to her bathroom and the main living room area. The bathroom door being in her room and the door leading to the living room being caddy corner, with a door that led to her bathroom from the main living area. We always called it kitty corner. But now I always hear caddy corner. So I don't know. What did you guys hear? Kitty or caddy? I'm curious. That seems to be a regional vernacular. I always heard kitty corner when I was growing up, though. One night in particular, I remember playing with my Legos. I was probably 9 or 10 years old when I happened to look up at my mom's bedroom door. Well, as I looked through that door, it became more and more apparent that there was something there. It had no facial features and was nothing more than the silhouette of a small person with really swooshy hair. Well, after about a minute of looking at this shadow, it dashed into the bathroom via the door directly connecting the bathroom and the bedroom. In disbelief, I continued playing with my Legos when I felt something staring at me. As I looked up, I couldn't believe my eyes. The same shadow was now standing directly in the bathroom doorway. Now, I know it had no face, much less eyes, but it was staring, watching, perhaps even waiting. I almost immediately sprinted into my mom's room, at which point I sprinted up the stairs, tears of fear running down my face. After that incident, I could never be alone in the basement at night, and my bedroom was moved to one of the spare rooms upstairs. I wish I could say that that was the last of my experiences, but alas, it is not. This same shadow person followed me to several different houses, including the one I'm in now. So we got an attachment out of the deal. Ew. I wonder if it's an attachment to him personally or some item that he managed to bring through his life with him. But in either case, that's pretty horrible. All right, let's move to number 8. This is the next one. It called to me, and I answered. I'm not one usually to talk about my situation, as it happened about 14 years ago, and anyone that I've gone out of my way to share this with immediately put a lot of discredit upon the topic. My spouse and close friends have always been the most intrigued. I only had one occurrence that I recall the most, and others did not have as much substance behind it as this one did. When I was 14, I was sharing the basement recreation area. What is it with these basements? I mean, like, so many of these stories so far have come from the basement. Maybe shadow people in basements, there's something to do with that. Maybe it's the earth energy or something like that they're drawn to. Like being subterranean to them is part of their deal. But so many of these stories in this article have been from basements. Like 4, at least, I think, that we've covered so far. All right. When I was 14, I was sharing the basement recreation area with my stepbrother at the time. My parents had spent time building me a room in the basement at my request, but lo and behold, I slept most of the time out on the playroom or whatever you want to call it. I didn't start sleeping in my room until I was probably 16. However, this instance further confirmed why I didn't. It was between 2 and 4 a.m. I don't recall the exact time, but I had originally fallen asleep on the floor next to the futon my stepbrother was sleeping on. He faced the wall and was heavily snoring to boot. I'd woken up and couldn't fall directly back to sleep, so I tossed and turned while the ambience of the TV kept spreading around the basement. Out of nowhere, I became completely stiff and unable to move my entire body except my neck and head. By this point, feet point to the wall and the TV behind me. I started to look around because I had become immediately filled with anxiety and fear. I was thinking of this being sleep paralysis at the time, until the next step took place. I laid there in silence, heavily snoring from my left, and it felt as if someone or something was sitting on my body, restraining me by the shoulders, which, due to claustrophobia issues, freaked me out. I heard a very faint voice at first in the distance. "Josh, are you there? I know you're there." Eyes peeled wide open, trying to diagnose me being crazy. At this point, it then spoke again. "Josh, can you hear me? I know you can hear me. Come to your bedroom." I continued to try and ignore as I felt I was about to puke as I was becoming really scared. In a much louder, gruffer voice, it spoke to me again. "Josh, I know you can hear me. Come to your bedroom." As if the biggest weight was off my body, I was immediately able to move, and I sat up in a split second and rose to my feet. This voice continued to calling my name and demanded my presence in my room. Like any unoriginal horror movie, I was pleading with my brain to not do it, but stupid me decided to make my way to the bedroom. The door always remained shut, and as I put my hand on the doorknob, I hear one more time, "Josh, are you coming? Open the door." As I opened the door, I had a small basement window, at the time big enough to sneak out of the house, parallel to the doorway. As I slowly creaked open the door in a cold sweat, there was what appeared to be dimly lit yellow eye shapes in the window, in the shape of some sort of dark figure staring deep into my soul. Wide-eyed and terrified, I looked up and was locked on for about 30 seconds. They got brighter and became dim, and then that repeated. I slammed the door immediately and bolted to the other end of the basement for the light and proceeded to rock back and forth because there was no explanation. My stepbrother woke up in a panic as I was petrified. We went back in the room together and turned the light on, and nothing was there. Nothing was outside as we went and checked further. He stayed up with me for a bit until I fell back asleep, and nothing like that occurred again. I cannot advise whom, why, where, or what, but it has left the biggest impact on me to this day. I know the difference between dreaming and being in an altered state of mind. but this was the most real I have ever felt behind a paranormal episode. That voice makes my body tingle, and the hair on my arms raise every time I think about it. I feel good knowing that I'm not completely alone in this type of thing, and all I can do is hold on to the memory as nothing has been explained or uncovered otherwise. I mean, we don't have answers. The Mexican Fly, Baxter Stockman. Oh, Snuffy's back. Okay, that makes sense. Saw a lot of font there. Brett has a silver ton. Who's Brett? And what's his silver ton? What's a silver ton? Yeshua. Do you mean me? My name is Brent. Brent. But no, I appreciate. Is that a tongue? Are you saying silver tongue? Hey, where's Jesse? Is Jesse in here? I don't see Jesse. I'm scrolling. Jesse Wilkins, Brent, is so much better than me at reading. Very jealous. Aw. How you do go on. Nah, brother, you do great. I listen to you all the time. You do marvelous. You actually do. Very good. If you ever want to check out a good show, folks, and you're not busy on a Tuesday night, go hang out with Hometown Ghost Stories. They are great. All three of those guys are wonderful. Jesse's been a great friend, and he works on music with me from time to time, too, which is awesome. By the way, Jesse, I featured that song in the last podcast, on the closing of the last podcast. I think it sounds great. I think it sounds great in there. Thank you again. If you listen to my last podcast episode, folks, the last two songs of the show, the first one that you hear as the interview closes is an instrumental piece written by Jesse. He's an exceptional musician. And then there's the last song of the show is something we did together. And I just really love working with the guy. He's just brilliant. So check out Hometown Ghost Stories. Listen to the podcast. You can hear Jesse's musical works as well on Spotify. And Jesse, feel free to drop a link in there in the chat if you can. If not, then maybe one of our mods can find you and put a link to your Spotify so people can hear your music. Anyway, let's move along. But good to have you here, brother. Thanks for coming in. Number 9 is coexistence. My experiences have all been pretty good, I guess. I've lived with shadow people all my life, and I see them every so often. The first time I was 10. I woke up in the middle of the night and looked at my door, and there was a shadow person standing there in the hallway. I used to sleep with the door open, and I could clearly see the outline of it, but it was like static, though. The outline was clear but shifted, like there was interference in what I was seeing. I could tell I was being watched and looked at, but there were no facial features, just a black mass in the shape of a person. The figure darted to the left of the door frame and entered the living room. I could hear its footsteps, oddly enough. It came back and then stopped in my doorway again before going down the hall towards my parents' room. Well, I got up to look, and of course, nothing. I sleep with my door closed now. I never saw it again in that house, and I heard it walking through the house many times. It wasn't until I moved into my current place that I saw him again. This time much better, more frequently. I see them every few weeks or so. They don't bother me, and I don't bother them. We coexist. There you go. Just like that bumper sticker. Coexist. It's got all the religious symbols in there. It sounds nice. Just coexist. Why not? Unless you don't like spooky shadow people staring at your sleeping soul. I'm just saying, some people are not into that. All right, number 10. They seem to know you. The thing about them is that they don't move the way people say ghosts move. How do ghosts move? Sort of unaware of their surroundings. They move around like people for the most part, as if they're really interacting with the world. The 3 times I've seen what I can only call a shadow person, I've been keenly aware they knew that I saw them. The creepiest part, that they seem to know who you are and where they are and that they're intelligent. Yeah, they do seem to have an awareness about the space they're in. It's not like a bumbling, what's going on? Who am I? They seem to know. So I don't know. Yeah, we appreciate you too, Jesse. Thanks for coming in, man. I'm glad you came in to hang out. It's just so much more cooler. Got Supernatural Station in your hometown ghost stories. Dave Scott headed in for a little bit. I don't know if Dave's still around, but yeah, great to have all you guys. Maybe Wes is out there lurking too. I don't know. He's been known to lurk. Sometimes he chats. But anyway, Sir Brian Bowden's here. Well, there's another podcaster. This has become a cool show hangout. I'm just saying, you guys are awesome. Thank you, Brian, for coming in, too. Great to see you, brother. They have a lot of intelligence talking about the shadow people. They specifically feed off of your fear, and that's why people get so upset and scared. That's awesome. Brian Bowden, as you may or may not know, is really sensitive himself. He does remote viewings and stuff. The guy is extraordinarily tuned in. So thanks for your input, Brian. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right. So that was number 10. How many was there in this? 26. What time do we got? I'll read one more and then we'll get to the cryptids, folks, because it's time for some creature cryptid stories. Number 11, he turned and fled into the wall. That's one time you got to be grateful that you're a spirit if you turn and flee and you hit a wall. Yeah, being a spirit, that's not a big deal. Being drunk, that's a big deal. My only experience with anything like this was after a particularly vivid dream in which someone was whispering what I can only describe as secrets into my ear. When I woke, I looked directly across my bedroom and I saw a shadow darker than darkness, and it turned and looked at me. When I called out, it then turned and ran straight into the wall. And I'm sure I saw a kind of splash of darkness, like dissipating smoke as it disappeared. I absolutely believe that whatever it was had been whispering into my ear before I woke up, and that I had awakened before he thought I would. I also just feel like I know it was a he. And there you go. Nice. Very cool. Very cool. We'll tell you what, those are some shadow people stories. Again, there's a lot of different ideas of what they are. Some Cherokee histories believe in their shamanic traditions, believe that shadow people are very utilitarian and may actually cleanse places by feeding on that dark energy. Like, they're kind of like janitors. They come in and they clean up negative energy and feed off of negative energy and, in essence, cleanse it. And so maybe they're not as bad as some people think. Other people just think, no, you got shadow people, you're screwed. Because they're I guess they don't follow the rules like a lot of other negative ghostly things, but I don't know. Just some food for thoughts. I don't pretend to know. I just hear the stories. So, spirit buzzards. Yeah, kind of, Amy. You're right. I mean, buzzards are kind of creepy, but then again, if we didn't have them, if they weren't eating up these rotting carcasses, it'd be a lot slimier world, probably. So, that and bugs. I don't know. All right, so that was some of the shadow people stories, which is kind of what led me to name the Tonight Show what I did. And so now it makes sense. Now it has context. We love context around here. They are interdimensional beings, Brian says. Yeah. I believe a lot of these things are that we regard as ghosts. I don't think that it's all just, hey, formerly living people. I think that many of the things that we may experience are something that are just vibrationally able to experience our world and able to leave our world energetically, frequency, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, great take. You could be right, sir. All right. Well, let's go on. It's got to be about time for some cryptids, I'm thinking. So that. We'll be on number 12 for tomorrow night to dive more into that article. Are you guys ready for some cryptozoological wonders in the form of tales of Bigfoot and other fun stuff like that? Well, I know I am. And by God, we're going to get there now. Bead addicts don't die. When I first read that, Annie, I thought it said bread. Bread addicts. And I was like, wow, never knew people were addicted to bread. But she said bead. I got some beads. Got a bunch of beads. Those are my beads. Those are my beads. Lots of good warding and protective things. If you believe in such things. If you don't, then they're just cool beaded bracelets. Either way, they're fashion forward, I think. Yeah, let's get to some cryptids, folks. It's time to dig into the world of the creatures and cryptids and undocumented biological things that roam our planet. Or maybe not. Here we go. All right, folks, time for the Cryptid Corner as we dive into stories of creatures, cryptids, Bigfoot, Dogman, Pale Crawlers, Loch Ness Monster, you name it. We'll probably get there sooner or later, so let's get into this. We're going to start the journey on Sasquatch Chronicles because Wes does this incredible blog over there, and he oftentimes, hi Josh Casto, he oftentimes posts, there's bread addicts for sure. Okay, Amy, I didn't know that, but yeah. I know I get a hankering for some carbs sometimes like crazy. But he posts listener emails for that written into him about their experiences, and not all of those become shows. Several of them do, but he puts them on his blog, and you can read them. And these are incredible events. Not all of them are over the top Hollywood kind of moments, but still, these are people's experiences running into something that they can't explain, and from traditional wisdoms isn't supposed to even be there, but it obviously is. So that's why I love what Wes is doing. So please check out his blog. He's doing an incredible job over there, and I wish more people would visit SasquatchChronicles.com and check out the blog. And of course, you can always become a member and get double shows every week too. So there's win-win. All right, here we go. This is from May 9th, and this was going to be an upcoming show, and perhaps it is an actual show now. I'm not sure, but at any rate, let's check this one out. Can someone explain to me what I saw? So a listener writes, I recently picked up my bow to go bow hunting. Did I read this one? Is this one that I read and didn't close? I'm going to read it again in case I did. I don't know if I did or not, but we'll read it again. I'm sorry if it's a repeat, folks. Sometimes I forget to close my tabs after I'm reading them, so but they say repetition helps you remember, so just consider this studying if it's a repeat. Supernatural Station podcast. It's Hometown Ghost Stories. Yeah, Hometown Ghost Stories is great. And Supernatural Station, that's Jaron and Roman. They're wonderful guys. You guys should get in contact with each other. I'm sure you'd have a great talk. Jaron, you should have those guys on your podcast. All right, upcoming show. Can someone explain this to me? Your listener writes, I recently picked up my bow to go bow hunting for whitetail after about 15-year hiatus. I'd moved to Columbia, South Carolina from North Carolina. I definitely read this. I'm not going to read it again. Sorry. I read it before. We're reading this one May 7th. I've never seen something that big. A listener writes, good morning, Wes. I was going into work around a.m. this morning after 2 hours driving, sometime a.m. I thought he was going to put a time before a.m., but around a.m. this morning after 2 hours of driving. I work in a pine forest the last 4 weeks. Odd. I have had an uneasy feeling like I'm being watched while unlocking the gates to get to my job site. First, it was super quiet. Super quite apparent or quiet. I'm not sure what he meant there. From the occasional logging truck coming down the main road next to the gate, even with the traffic, I see rabbits and deer regularly. But this week, seen very little. Well, this morning I was driving down the main road. It was very little traffic. Up ahead, I saw something in a ditch about 400 meters away, just out of my light's beam, and could only see it with the ambience light coming from my truck as I got closer. It turned its body just enough to get eye shine, not both eyes, so I couldn't judge the size of the head. The ditch is about 3 feet deep, and its head was about 3 to 4 foot higher than the top of the ditch. As it got to about 200 odd meters away, it bolted down to the river. I've never seen something that big. We don't have bears here or anything that I could mistake. Anything, I put a period, but anything I could mistake it for. That's where the period should be. It definitely wasn't a deer, wasn't the right shape and the wrong type of coat, like not shot like a deer's. This isn't the first time I have reached out, but this is my most recent encounter. I have had 2 total sightings. So he saw one in a ditch and then it took off. It's no offense to the person. I mean, some people just aren't writers. It's not always easy to try to discern what they're saying, but I think for them, that's the takeaway is he was going into work. It was been quiet lately. Hasn't seen much wildlife and caught this figure, ahead about 200 meters ahead. And then as he got closer, it turned and bolted towards the river. It was huge, nothing in that area big enough to mistake it for. So, that sounds like a great experience. Probably disconcerting though. I don't know if this guy started out as a believer or became a believer because of the sighting, but at any rate, very cool. All right, let's go to the next one. This one's from May 4th. We're kind of going backwards, but that's okay. If it wasn't a Sasquatch, I have no idea what it could have been. A listener writes, in the late summer of 2013, I was driving north on I-79 in West Virginia. It was late in the day, and I was the only car on this stretch of road I was on. It was still full daylight, but the sun had dropped behind the mountains and the trees to the west of me. Well, I came around a curve in the road and came to a straight section.
Carnation.
Does carnation make any sense to you guys? Or does that just seem like a random ghost box word? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. But carnation is what the ghost box said, in case you didn't hear it. I came around the curve in the road in the straight section that was probably over a mile long. The southbound lanes were separated from the northbound by a patch of trees that was probably 70 feet wide. About half a mile in front of me, something very large, at least 8 feet tall, all dark brown or black, ran out of the woods to the right of the highway, ran across the road in 3 or 4 huge strides, and into the trees in the median. If I had a dash cam, I'd have one of the best clips anyone could ever have. It was in the open for at least 50 feet from tree line to tree line. I wasn't frightened at all. I was like, holy bleep. However, I did speed past those trees where it went at about 120 miles per hour. Pretty funny. I've only ever told one person about it. If it wasn't a Sasquatch, I have no idea what it could have been. Again, I still think, and I'm convinced about this, the next Patterson-Gimlin film is going to come from a dash cam. These road crossings are so prevalent, and it's got to be the most consistent, I don't know, the most sightings that occur nowadays seem to be road crossings, surprisingly close to cars. And you know they have to be intentional. They have to be intentional. If these things are as smart as we think they are, they could just wait. Car goes by, then they go. But they don't. They go. Sometimes it's like they're waiting to go when the car is good and close enough to get a good look. It's like they want to be seen sometimes. Maybe because they get a kick out of how freaked out we get. Maybe there's any number of reasons why. I don't pretend to know. I can speculate all day long. But if people had consistently installed dash cams, that's where the next Patterson-Gimlin film will come from. That's my prediction. It's just a matter of time. So we'll see. But cool sighting. It's amazing how much distance they can put away. It's crazy stuff. Cool story though. Let's go to the next one. May 3rd, strange incident from Culver, Oregon. A listener writes, I've been listening to your podcast all week this week, and as I was listening to episode 1150, I believe it was, the guy from Powell Butte, the episode got me thinking about a strange thing that had happened to me when I was in 5th grade. I was staying the weekend with my buddy, who at the time lived in the campground. It was the end of school, early 2000s, and there was relatively no one at the campgrounds yet, so we're having a sleepover, and his parents were in the fifth wheel towards the front of the campground, and we decided to set up a tent towards the back of the campground. Now, to set up this campground, it's not far off of Highway 97 in Culver, Oregon. There's just a few trees on the ground, and behind the ground, it's a huge open field that butts up to an irrigation canal, and beyond that is a treeless hill with some rock formation. And this is important later, I think. And the next to the campground is a couple houses and barns with livestock. So we set up our tent and spent the night in the back of the campground with nobody around. And throughout the... It's like I'm getting a lap dance here. Throughout the night, we kept hearing things rustling around the tent. Squirrels, raccoons, and chipmunks. We didn't think anything of it. And now the next morning, we got up relatively early and decided to go run around the back open field. It was an overcast, cloudy day, like it was about to rain. And as we were playing, we both noticed how quiet it was, which was weird being next to these homes with horses and cows, etc. We looked around and noticed not a single animal was out of their barns. Not super weird, just a little odd given the area. So we decided to walk back to the canal and just check it out. Now, this canal had a dirt road that you could drive a small truck or ATV down it. We started walking along and we came to a spot on this road where it was wet. And I mean soaked, which was odd. The closer we looked, we noticed that on the side of the canal, there were tox reeds / grass. I think he meant tall reeds and grass along the bank. And there were two impressions in the grass about 3+ feet apart. And as we looked more right across from those impressions were two more on the opposite bank. Now, these canals have fast-moving water through them and are usually waist deep, depending on the area. Now back to the watermarks. The only way to describe it is that it looked like something had walked through the water and into the road. I thought it may be someone on an ATV running through there, but the ground was too wet, and we would have heard someone driving around out there. And there were no signs of tracks. The water path made a half-moon shape and then went back into the canal, where there were two more sets of imprints on both banks. The whole track looked like something had walked through the canal on into the road and then back through to the canal. Now, these impressions were almost straight across from the other in the banks. It would have been a person, or it would have been a person, or the current would have been strong enough that the impressions would be offset. But these weren't. After about 10 to 15 minutes of just looking around, we started to notice all the animals had started coming out of the barns and moving back out into their pastures. There were no signs of people to let them out, plus they had open barns. We had binoculars with us, so we looked around toward the hill and up there, and there was this one rock formation that resembled a cave entrance. Now, I don't know if it was a cave or if it just resembled it. The whole situation was just odd, and I'm not really sure what caused those tracks and the impressions on the tall grass, but whatever it was, it had to be big and heavy to leave them. I'm not sure what to make of it, but I just thought I'd share it with you. That sounds pretty cool. Owl 13 says, deer sometimes lay on our front lawn. Well, sometimes I get moose chewing on my shrubs right outside my window. Seriously. You want to see? I'll show you. This is no kidding what I had in my lawn just earlier in the winter. Let me, where the hell is this? That's not what I want. I want this. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on, you guys. Hold on. I'll show you. Want to see it? I'll show you. If I can find it. I only have about a gajillion photos in here. It's before that. I could go through all these pictures. No, it should be after that. Shouldn't it? Maybe I missed them. Maybe I should be ready to say things like this and then show you, rather than just, hey, you want to see something? Let me sit here on my phone for 5 minutes and find it for you. Oh my God, no, it must have been before that. Must have been before Christmas. Oh, there it is. There it is. This is a little young moose that was, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. Let's see if I can put it up here in a manner that you can observe. This is a moose crossing the street near my house, literally half a block away. And that guy's, I mean, there's a pickup truck in the back, so you can see that it's not full grown, but it was a solo moose. It was all by itself. But he was hanging out in front of my house right after this too. I was walking the Minion to the bus, and this guy was just standing there, and that's right, literally right outside here. So I got pictures of a bigger moose way back with the mother and the calf that came into my yard and laid down and left me big piles of Hershey's Kisses, which is great. But yeah, true story. All right, it's about 8:43. I think we'll just close out the last of the Sasquatch Chronicles, and then we'll get into one Phantoms and Monsters article, and that'll probably be the show, depending on how long this one is. Maybe we'll just close out with this one. This is a huge freaking story. Holy good Lord. My God. I don't even think I got time for that one tonight. I'll have to do that one tomorrow. We're going to go right to Phantoms and Monsters. This is Lon Strickler's site, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope some of you guys hung out with Lon earlier tonight. The Friday night lineup is pretty freaking epic, and that is, you can start with Lon at 6 Pacific time. It would be 9 Eastern time on Lon's YouTube channel, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio. Lon goes live every Friday night and has great discussions about a lot of the stuff on his site. Sometimes he does it very thematically, but he also opens it up for questions. If you guys have questions about a given cryptid or something, he's happy to field those questions. So it's a great time. So that's an hour show, 6 to 7 Pacific, 9 to 10 Eastern. And then right then, the Paranormal Portal comes on. So that's this show, and it's 2 full hours. And then after this show, at 10 p.m. Pacific, which would be, I guess, 1 a.m. Eastern, that will be Dave Scott coming on. Or maybe it's 10. No, it's Dave Scott comes on at 9 p.m. Pacific, which would be midnight Eastern. And you can hang out with Dave for a few hours. So there's all kinds of amazing shows, and there might be other great shows too. But those are the lineup that I know on Friday night. That is one right after the other. Takes you through these exceptional shows, my show included, because I'm very proud of what we do here. But I hope you guys hung out with Lon earlier. If not, put it on your calendar. Hang out with Lon at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on Friday nights. That's when he goes live, and I'm sure he'd sure love your support. In the meantime, head over to his YouTube channel at Phantoms and Monsters Radio and hit subscribe. Lon's a great guy, so check it out. All right, here we go. This is a story from May 4th as well. Huge laughing black humanoid seen crawling at night in southwest Georgia woods. That's just, I don't know. You know, it's not bad enough that there's Bigfoot and dogmen out there and some pale crawlers. But then there's these other things that might be a Sasquatch, might be some dogman thing, or even a overly big pale crawler, but might be something else completely. So it always baffles my mind to think of how many things could be out there. How many things could be out in these woods, ladies and gentlemen. So It's food for thought. Anyway, let's check out this story. It was all black, huge, limber, and humanoid, and crawling around on all fours, scurrying around, ducking and diving behind the trees, maybe 15 feet in front of me in the shadows. Okay, I don't know how you feel about that, but if I was walking around alone at night and there was some huge shadowy thing scurrying around, I'm telling you what, that would be nightmare fuel right there. That's just not what I want to see at night when I'm out in the woods. No way in hell. All right, it says, I received the following account. That's what Lon says. This happened 3 days after Halloween in 2024, so just last fall. I live in southwest Georgia, and my home backs up to a large forest. Well, it was about 2 a.m., and I couldn't sleep, so I went on my back porch to read and smoke and just have some tea. I was out there for maybe 30 minutes when suddenly I heard what sounded like something heavily falling or jumping from a tree and hitting the forest floor violently. I thought maybe a tree fell at first, until right where I heard the noise come from, I immediately began hearing what sounded like something walking around on all fours, something large. Now, I assume bear? There's a fence directly in front of me, so I know I can dart inside before it can reach me, so I stay set, curiously hoping to see this bear. My eyes set diligently on the dark forest ahead. Then for a split second, illuminated by my porch light, I can see a shadowy figure of whatever it was. It wasn't furry, nor cute, nor bear. It was all black, huge, limber, and humanoid, and crawling around on all fours, scurrying around, ducking and diving behind the trees, maybe 15 feet in front of me in the darkness. And then the laughter begins. Oh, God, like it wasn't bad enough it's this big shadow thing crawling around on all fours, but then it starts laughing. Are you freaking kidding me? That's horror. Absolute horror. The best way to describe this laugh was like the stereotypical witch, with some uncanny animalistic distortion. It was cackling so loudly, psychotically, manically, mockingly. I thought surely my neighbors would be coming outside at any moment. I was absolutely frozen in fear. I couldn't move. I didn't want to move. I thought if I did, whatever it was would give chase. So I sat frozen, staring back blankly at the forest that mocked me. This laughing/staring match went on for a long 3 minutes. Finally, I found the courage to look down long enough to grab my phone and record a video with the flashlight. The moment the flashlight hit the trees, the laughter subsided, of course, but the scurrying around continued. Finally, I loudly yelled, "Screw this!" and just dashed inside. A week later, I was awake late again, this time in my bedroom, and heard what sounded like human footsteps running around on my roof in circles. It lasted maybe 5 minutes, and that was the last anything has happened, though. I moved into this new place back in March, and when I first arrived, items kept disappearing and reappearing, but that eventually stopped too. So is that a haunting or is that a creature? I mean, again, it jumped from the trees. It made a sound. It made sounds as it's scurrying around. So it sounds physical. What about that cackling laughter? That's freaking horrifying. Yeah, that's nightmare fuel for sure. Creepy story. All right. So what do we got? 8:51. I think we can read this one and that'll about do it. Yeah, we'll get through this one. And that'll about do it for tonight. Is this cryptid or just something else? I don't know. Let's find out. Young woman terrified of grinning black-eyed man. This is from May 13th, 2025. Pretty new. A young woman has a terrifying encounter with a grinning, black-eyed man on Kitsilano Beach in Vancouver, British Columbia. She was so frightened that she called her boyfriend to just come and get her. Lon says, I came across the following account. It was the summer of 1986, and I just graduated from high school. I was living in Vancouver, British Columbia, and a girlfriend and I spent the afternoon at Kitsilano Beach, suntanning. Well, she had to leave early for work, so I stayed at the beach alone. And it was around 4 p.m., and I was hungry. I walked up the beach over to an area called Spanish Banks, and there's a concession stand there. It had a long lineup, which was Expo 86, so we had a ton of tourists that summer, and the beach was packed. Well, I placed my order, but was told that it would be a 15 or 20 minute wait for my food. Well, I perched myself on a bench and proceeded to wait. For some reason, I looked across the street. The concession stand is adjacent to the road, a narrow 2-lane road, not the best for beach traffic. And the other side of the road is a forest called the UBC Endowment Lands, attached to the university. A guy was walking down through the forest, which was also a steep hill. And there's no sidewalk below, and it was really a dangerous place to try to cross the street. Not only that, it was also an odd place to come out of. Imagine a steep hill with lots of bushes and trees going straight down to a curb, and then a busy street. The second that I saw this guy, and I was far away at the concession stand, I had that gut-wrenching fear that everyone describes when encountering something bizarre. Even though he was far away, I could tell that he was grinning maliciously and that he was fixated on me. Oh, that's horrifying. He crossed the street grinning, and at that moment there was no cars, so he got across easily. He made a beeline straight to where I was and went and sat on a bench across from me. I'm not good at distances, but let's say 10 to 15 feet away. He was First Nations, a little bit older than I was, maybe 19 or 20. He had medium-length hair and was wearing a white t-shirt and a red flannel shirt over it, unbuttoned. He was wearing jeans. I can't remember his shoes. Runners of some kind. And he was fairly attractive, but utterly evil. Malicious was the word that kept going through my mind.
Adult.
Adult? Yeah, I guess he was an adult. It says adult. The ghost box says adult. Yeah, I was thinking Skinwalker too, Hydros. Now his eyes. They were black. No whites could be seen. But they weren't shiny. His were dull. The way that I described it to my boyfriend later was that they looked like scratched black plastic. And that they also gave me the feeling of when you look into a microscope or binoculars and you can kind of see your own eyelashes squished against the lens. And it's almost spider-like. His eyes and his everything frightened me like nothing else ever has. He sat there, grinning at me. He knew that I was terrified, and I knew that I had to pretend that I wasn't. I felt totally alone, even though there were tons of people around. No one else seemed to notice anything amiss. I felt as though knowing that this person existed made me hate being alive. This world would never be safe if things like him existed. I sat there acting totally normal on the outside, just trying to keep it together because it seemed instrumental to my survival. I had no idea what this thing would do, but I felt as if my life was in danger. My food was ready for pickup. I got it, and then proceeded to go over to a payphone. I kept my back to him and phoned my boyfriend. I told him to get the F over to Spanish Banks because there was a really scary guy here, and I didn't know how to get away. After my boyfriend hung up, I stayed in the phone booth pretending to talk to someone. At some point, I had to get off. Maybe someone wanted the phone. I then sat back on the bench, and he stayed, grinning. A minute or two before my boyfriend got there, He got up and sauntered away down the beach. When my boyfriend got there, he wanted to go after him. I grabbed his arm hard and told him that we had to get out of there now. I couldn't explain properly to my boyfriend just how terrifying that experience was. I still can never explain it properly. It was scarier than a murderer. It felt as though this thing could do something to you, and it wouldn't just end your life. It would do something that would destroy or torment your soul forever. Good God. So it does sound kind of like a skinwalker, though, doesn't it? Ay, ay, ay. You know, that guy looks happy. The image doesn't quite do it justice, because that looks like a happy guy. Like, hey, how you doing, buddy? But not the case, apparently. Well, that's crazy. I mean, real people are scary enough, but then if you got supernatural, diabolical things, that's even worse. So, but again, she's fine. She was fine, but she sure got the hell scared out of her. So whatever that means, I don't know. What was it? I'm not sure. Got some ideas, but could be any number of things. But trust your gut. I guess the takeaway is trust your gut. If something feels wrong, trust it, because then it must be wrong. At least it's wrong for you. I can't tell you how many times I've had gut reactions from people, and I just like, nope, I don't want to be around this person. Nope. And generally, I think pretty consistently, I find out that I'm right, that there's a reason that I shouldn't have hung around this person. And it's just very, very intuitive, but I believe in that completely. So trust your gut. But anyway, also trust that we've been through 2 full hours of the portal, folks. So I hope you guys had a good time. Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate you being here, as always. You know, I love you guys, and I'll be back tomorrow night. I think Tex will be joining me, so we'll dive into tomorrow night's show. We'll cover the question of the week. We'll do what the hell is that, and we'll do some more cryptids and other strangeness as time permits. So tune in tomorrow night, same place, same times. Just keep on coming back. We do these live shows every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Love to have you come back. Be a part of every one of them if you can. If not, be here when you can, or just watch the videos on demand if you can. But if you want to help out the show, obviously there's a lot of ways to do that. Certainly monetarily is one way, but there's plenty of ways that don't cost you anything. Just hit the likes. Give me a like before you leave if you enjoyed the show. If you didn't enjoy it, then hit the dislike if you want. I mean, that's honest. I don't want you to lie. You know? But if you're watching it when it's not live, please leave me a comment. That really goes a long way in making the algorithm notice that there's actually interaction going on here, and so it helps to promote the shows. So please do that. Please leave me comments as much as you can. So share the videos as well. That's another way. But that's all I got for you tonight. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Happy Memorial Day. Watch for the podcast on Monday. I'll be back tomorrow night for another show, so I hope you'll join me then. But good night to all you over in Rumble. Good night to all of you in YouTube. Good night to any of you over on Facebook, X, or Twitch that managed to hang out with us. I didn't see your chats, but I saw a few from Facebook. But other than that, just know I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. I'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. So join us then. 7, 10, yeah. All right. And you can hang out with Dave Scott coming up. So good night, everybody.